As I mentioned, other ones on the list leading up to the top 10, Ultramarines, Warhammer 40,000 movie. Forgot that when I was making my list, because that's a direct-to-video that came out a little while ago and I just watched. Jonah Hex, Dinner for Schmucks, Prince of Persia, Paranormal Activity 2, Due Date, Machete, Other Guys, Kick-Ass, Cop-Out, Losers, Tangled, and The A-Team. Really liked most of those. Losers, A-Team, Other Guys, great action stuff. Paranormal Activity 2 was way better than the first, and the first was great. Cop-Out was so hilarious. I know a lot of people found it grating, but I really liked it, and it's homage to the old Buddies action movies. Tangled was charming and fun, just like all Disney ones are. It didn't have the extra oomph that a Pixar has, but it was still really good. And Machete was disappointing. Other Guys I found was better than that. Here's where I get to say the main ones that I wanted to see that weren't included, because this will probably affect what you expect in the top 10. Didn't see Toy Story 3. I haven't seen 2 yet, so there you go. 1 bored me, but there you go. Didn't see The American. Didn't see The Bounty Hunter, which probably would be in the top 10, but I'll mention it because I wanted to see it. Butler looks cool. Didn't see Last Airbender. Probably were noticing that wasn't in there. I didn't see that. Don't want to. Didn't see the new Harry Potter. Didn't see Night and Day. Didn't see Love and Other Drugs. Didn't see Extraordinary Measures. Remember, these are the ones I'm interested in seeing. Didn't see Buried. Didn't see Creation. Didn't see Despicable Me. And the main ones, probably, that I would really have to mention here, I didn't see Shutter Island. I didn't see Unstoppable, or The Tourist, or The Fighter. Most of those never got around to it, or don't care enough to go see it, really. They look interesting and I want to see them, but I never got around to it. Didn't see Legend of the Guardians, and I really wanted to see The Warrior's Way, but didn't get a chance to. It never came here. Didn't see Salt. I've heard iffy things about that, but I didn't see it. And other ones that I wanted to see that I heard were good, Black Swan, Centurion, Valhalla Rising. I actually have both those DVDs, but still haven't watched them. So I guess I could shoehorn them in later, but I doubt they'll affect anything. They'll be mid-pack ones. You Again looked really funny. District 13 Ultimatum, first one was decent. Killers looked really funny, and yet bad at the same time. I think they just marketed that horrendously. 127 Hours looked good. Afterlife looked good. Date Night looked like it had its moments. Easy A looked funny. You know, a lot of ones in here that looked good. Life as We Know It, it's kind of a funny story. She's Out of My League, again doubtful, but these are ones that I'm mentioning. The Town. Those movies that I wanted to see or had interest in, or that I knowingly were like, yeah, this will probably be in the top 10 people expect. Didn't see those. The main one, I'm going to sneeze here in a second, so maybe it's an omen because of it, but I didn't see Inception. And a lot of people probably say that would be my number 1. So I never saw that. I missed it in the theater. I was going to go see it after I moved, but that week I went to go see it, it and Salt were both gone. I went, oh, I had a week off, I'd planned it, and was hoping it'd still be there, but they moved them out for other movies, so that was frustrating. What we're left with, though, is my actual top 10 movies of the year. And the lower ones are hard, because either I recently saw them, or I have fond memories of them, or whatever. Like I said, A-Team, Entangled, and Losers I actually originally had up there. But as I ordered them around, I like this one better than that one, etc. So that's where we're at. Number 10 is True Grit. Now I just saw it, and I don't know if that'll hold up, because I might like A-Team more in the long run, or Tangled more. But True Grit was really good. Really, really, really good. I love westerns that are a bit different. Pale Rider, Open Range, Unforgiven, of course, Quick and the Dead. Something different about it, and this one really fit the bill. I've never seen the original True Grit. Heresy, I know, but I really liked this one. And I've never seen a Coen Brothers movie. I know. Fargo and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? excuse me, No Country for Old Men, I believe, is theirs, and I saw part of that and really didn't care for it. So, there you go. But True Grit, I loved. Jeff Bridges was fucking awesome in it. Barry Pepper was a creepy little fuck. Josh Brolin had a small part, but man, he was good in it. Kind of a dumbass, really. And the girl, Haley Steinfeld. Wow. What amazes me is she actually is 14. So she wasn't even 14 when they filmed it. She was playing older than she really is. Holy shit. So yeah, I can't compare it to the original. I've heard people upset or saying it's sacrilegious to make a remake of True Grit. It's insulting to John Wayne and his memory. True Grit's a novel, and the Wayne movie was an adaptation of the novel. So this one's an adaptation of the novel too, that also happens to already have had an adaptation done. Shut up. Number 9 is Iron Man 2. I wanted to like this more than I did. I gotta be honest, and a big part of the reason why I don't like it as much is because the score is different. Like I mentioned before with Clash of the Titans, Raymond Joandi did the score for Iron Man. He did not return for 2. They had elements of his score in the Dr. Pepper commercials, but he didn't actually do this one. That was disappointing. That's probably the hugest disappointment. When I heard AC/DC was going to have their music featured in it, I'm like, okay, that'll be neat. It was barely in there either. The movie overall was good, had a bit too much S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, and that's probably why Favreau isn't doing Iron Man 3, but overall, 2 was really, really, really good. But I can't sit here and go, oh, that part was awesome, like I did with the first. And I guess that's typical for sequels, and that's not fair to judge it on its own merit. There was great things. The fight with Tony and Rhodey, the battles, Rourke was great, but it really, I don't think it's going to hold up as well as some people think. And, I mean, I know I'm criticizing it more than my top 10 worst, but I'm kind of justifying why it's not higher, and I wish it was. The other ones I think hold up better. Number 8, How to Train Your Dragon, is an example of that. That movie surprised me so much. It just everything came together. I had it ranked higher originally, actually, but like I said, things bounced around. The 3D in this was good, not entirely necessary. It was more environmental, but wow to this one. Great story. Really recommend seeing this one. I recommend all these, obviously. They're the top 10 movies I saw, but I really liked it. It was... See, I'm having trouble describing it. Everything just tied together so well. It really pulled everything through in every way it should. A great, great, great script. And a really well-told story. Good action, good music, funny, and yet threatening at the same time. I think that was it. That's where Tangled kind of failed. It had a little more edge to it, which I know Disney's not about edge, but there you go. Really, really good. Number 7's Tron Legacy. Now, so I just honestly watched the 2 reviews that Spoonie and Cinema Snob did of this one. Spoonie hated it. He wanted to like it. Snob wanted to like it and loved it. And I'm on Snob's... he basically said everything I think about it. It was very 80s. Felt 80s. The music was pumping. There's not much you can really do to downplay it. I know Spoonie, he tore into it. Like, if they need... Why do they need the disc? If they told me I don't remember. Well, they did tell you. He needed it because he wanted to use his disc to go to the real world. I don't know why he couldn't have used his own disc, because there was a point where they built the portal so far away so no random programs could go through. They even said that in the movie, so why can't Clue leave with his own disc? I'm confused. So yeah, I really don't know. And it's one of those things like an old Chuck Austin Uncanny X-Men comic. If he can't get through the portal, how can he send the page through the portal to get someone to come through the portal so we can go through the portal? It's like he needs to be on the other plane to open the portal so he can go to the other plane. What? That frustrated me. And the other part of it is, yeah, Spoonie is right on a lot of points too, and is like, oh, you're right. This movie does fall apart when you really think about it. Because if he did bring it through, he wanted more people. Well, who else did he want? What was he expecting? What was Clue's plan? Who was he hoping to get? And he was disappointed by what Sam had, even, I guess. I don't know. But he then goes and puts him in the light cycle race to try to kill him? But why? You brought him in. I don't get it. And then when they leave, oh, we can't chase them. And they never try to chase them. Oh. But they have things that fly, like jets, or whatever else they use to go eventually to them. Why didn't you just use those earlier? Never really addressed that. And yes, Spoonie's right. Where the fuck did the pig come from? Where did he get the pig? What has he been eating this whole time? Is there natural life? Like, they didn't really address that part of it as well as they should have. And it really, the movie too also felt like part 3. Understandably so, Tron happened, then a few years went by, and we see a bit of that. And then we're picking up now after that. So we're not picking up from Tron, we're picking up from a bit after Tron, which makes sense. And we have to learn with Sam what happened in between, which, okay, that's cool. But I really think they could have told that story in a movie. I know they did it in the comic and the video games, but they could have probably made 2 of these. But admittedly, this is the more interesting story, so yeah, we can learn through a few flashbacks here and there about it. And yeah, people say the weird Jeff Bridges thing looked weird. Same as X-Men The Last Stand, where they made young Magneto and Xavier. It's plasticky and doesn't look natural, and if you have to focus on it, it becomes bad. So of course, when he had a few close-ups, looked weird. And it reminds me of what Shrek had. Because Snob mentioned in his The Uncanny Valley, and the more realistic it gets, the more wrong it gets. Shrek had that problem with Fiona, where they made her look too realistic. It was creepy. They had to back off of that to make it look more acceptable and not creepy. Problem here is they needed him to look normal and acceptable and real. They didn't want to go back a bit. So there really wasn't much they could do in that regard, unfortunately. It was a good movie, though. The soundtrack is fucking amazing. And it really is just to turn your brain off and go. Yeah, they could have done more with it, but they weren't planning to. This grid has not aged with the times. This is the same grid from before with its own evolution. So now I can definitely see, plug the grid into the internet, now we can get all that crazy new shit. So there's that. It was good though, but not as good as the next. The Expendables. I wanted this to be number 1. I wanted this to be number 1 when I heard about it in 2008. This is the great action, everyone amalgamating together. And it was awesome. It was flawed, just like Tron was. These are both very flawed movies, and if you don't like this kind of movie, you're fucked. But The Expendables, basically, it suffered a bit because it barely had Arnold in it, it barely had Bruce Willis in it, but 2 is going to take care of that. It didn't have much martial arts guys, except for Jet Li. They focused a bit too much on Jet Li, I think. I wanted more Dolph, but who doesn't? And overall, it was more, like Snob said, it was more like the Tango and Cash of his career, where you got Rambo and Rocky Balboa and now The Expendables. Excuse me. But I really, really enjoyed it. Great old school action. And that's what it was. Old school action. And we need more of that.